The film starts and we see two brothers in a small house, one of whom's name was Pedro. Suddenly, they hear the sound of bullets from the nearby jungle, so they decide that we will go and check what the matter is. But they thought that it is not right to go to the jungle at this time of night, so they decide to wait for the morning. As soon as the morning came, they took their dog, and went into the jungle and started searching. After a while of searching, they find a dead body, in a very bad condition because it was bitten in the middle. Seeing the dead body, Pedro's brother doubts the owner of this land. Because this land belonged to him, so he killed this man. But seeing the dead body, it was clear that it was not the work of any human. Then they find a suitcase near the dead body. After checking it, there was a strange thing and a map inside. There was a mark on the map. Seeing the mark, Pedro understands that this is the house of a woman living nearby. So, both brothers leave to go to that woman's house, so that they can know about this whole incident, and also know who this dying man was. When they reached the woman's house and asked, they found out that the man was actually a cleaner, which is usually called a priest. But in the movie, he is called a cleaner, who does the work of driving away evil, such as demons, devils, etc. The woman says that I had called that cleaner to my house, so that he could kill my son. Because my son has been rotten for a long time, that is, his body is completely rotten. Actually, he was possessed by an evil spirit, a bad power, such as demons, etc., that is, he was in his control. Because of this, his body had become very fat, so such a body becomes rotten, which just lies on the bed, and pus keeps coming out of it. Because by coming under the control of the devil, that man is not able to do anything. And evil, the devil, keeps tormenting that man, until a cleaner or someone else kills him. But if someone else kills this rotten, then that evil spirit, that killing man, and all the people around him, his family, etc., also possesses them. Then in anger, Pedro asks that woman, that is, the mother of Rotten, that why have you not told anyone about it yet? In response, the woman says that I had reported it to the church a year ago, and since then we have been waiting for help, but no one has done anything for us. But still, Pedro gets angry at the woman and her second son. But because he himself could not do anything, both the brothers come to the police station to tell the police about it. But on the contrary, the police start questioning them. In the middle of the conversation, Pedro has an argument with an officer, then his brother stops Pedro. The police say that we can't help you right now. First, we will confirm from the health department that he is rotten or due to some disease, he is in this condition. And only then will we know who killed that dying man, the cleaner. Before that, we can't do anything. Both brothers take the name of the landowner here. Because the cleaner's body was found from his land, and where the house of the rotten was also his land. But the police were not ready to help them. And they become hopeless, that's why they meet the landowner. And tell him about the corpse of Rotten and the cleaner. Now, from the words of the landowner here, we know why everyone doubts him. Actually, Rotten and his mother were living on the land of the landowner, which he do not like at all. Because of which everyone thinks that the landowner killed the cleaner, so that he could not go to Rotten's house. And Rotten remained in this condition. But he is not the landowner, he is someone else who was behind all this, who did not want the cleaner to go to Rotten's house and kill him. But the landowner did not believe the words of Rotten. He felt that this is a conspiracy so that my land is snatched from me. Now, in anger at this, the landowner goes to kill Rotten at night. But Rotten's mother forbids him to do this. Because he is not a cleaner, he is a common man. So, if he kills Rotten, then the evil will take over the landowner, and Rotten's family and will torment them in the same way. Because the evil spirit inside Rotten plays with people's fear. Using their fear against those people, it takes control of them. Now, when the landowner went to kill him, he also urges him to kill him so that he can be free. The evil inside Rotten tells him to kill me so that I can kill all the children growing in your wife's stomach and take over. But here the landowner controls himself with great difficulty, and comes out and sits in his car. In the morning, the landowner's mother Pedro and her brother came here. But the landowner had decided that he would take Rotten's body away from here. For this, he asks for Pedro and his brother's help and they both agree. So, now the three of them put Rotten's body in the truck, and set out to set him aside. After coming a long way, they got off the truck to throw Rotten. And when they checked behind, they saw that Rotten's body was not in the truck. So, they understood that a child had come in the middle of the road. To save him, when we put the brake hard, then Rotten must have fallen somewhere. Now, whatever happened, the landowner wanted his body to be taken away. And now as soon as that work is done, the three of them come to their home. In the morning, the landowner's wife starts screaming after seeing her goats. After hearing her voice, he came out. Then his wife points to the goats, and shows a strange goat that was doing strange things. And while doing this, the landowner also noticed. Looking at him, it seemed as if Satan had possessed him. Seeing this, the landowner put the gun on the goat. And looking at the goat's behavior, it seemed as if the evil inside him was saying, "That shoot me and kill me. After that, I will finish your family." And this time, the landowner could not control his anger. And he did what he should not have done. That is, he really shoots the goat and kills it. That is, he did what the evil wanted. And now the evil could be released from one body and go to the other. And now he goes to the landowner's wife's body. Being possessed by Satan, she attacks the landowner with an axe, which kills him. After doing this, she also puts an axe in her head and she also dies. In this way, she also killed her children, and the whole family of the landowner is killed. From which we understand that the power of the evil Satan is so dangerous, that he completely controlled the brain, which killed the whole family. Pedro and his brother were still at Rotten's house. At night, Rotten's brother comes to them and says that you stay here. He was asking for help. And what happened to the landowner's family, he also tells everything. Now Pedro's brother suspected him that perhaps he was also possessed by the evil. But Pedro calms the child and tells him to go to the store and sleep. Before leaving, the child tells him that stay away from the electric things, it will be good for you. Now we will find out why the boy said this. Now somewhere Pedro and his brother had a hint of the coming danger. That's why he decides to leave this place in the morning. Pedro also tells his brother that we will leave all our stuff here, so that a little part of evil does not go with us to the place where we are going. The next morning, Pedro goes to his ex-wife, whom he had left, burns his clothes. But his ex-wife starts fighting with Pedro. She says, "Why have you come to ruin my life now?" Meanwhile, we saw that Pedro's ex-wife's daughter was attacked by the dog and taken out with him. Actually, before Pedro's clothes were burned, the dog had licked it, which makes the evil possess the dog. Now Pedro's wife's husband goes out to find his daughter and dog. Pedro tells her that no matter what happens, don't shoot the dog. But it is obvious that in such a situation, where does a person's mind work? So when Pedro went out to see, his ex-wife's husband shot the dog and killed it, which made Pedro worried in his heart. That is, he did what he shouldn't have done. Then Pedro comes home and is surprised and worried, because his ex-wife's daughter had returned home safely. The child's mother is very happy to see her alive and safe. But here the child says a very strange thing, that now Dad will come from the car and kill you. Hearing this, Pedro got very scared. He takes the car from the garage and puts his two sons in the car, and is about to leave from here. But then he saw that my ex-wife's husband came with the car, and hit his wife, which feels like she was killed. But seeing this, the child does not get scared but starts laughing, because the evil had possessed the child too. Then her dad was possessed and he also killed his wife. Seeing this, Pedro took his sons and left immediately, and comes to his mother's house, where his brother had already come. And now Pedro puts his mother and brother in the car, and they leave the town. On the way, Pedro's son tells his grandmother to tell us about possession and being possessed. When the grandmother says that there are 7 principles of protection from this possession and possessed body. The first is that you have to stay away from electric things. That is, the same thing that Rotten's brother had also said, so this was the reason. The second principle is to stay away from animals. The third is not to use anything of a possessed person that is most dear to him. The fourth is not to hurt them, not to torture them. The fifth is never to call evil or devil by their name. The sixth is never to kill a possessed person with the gun. The seventh and last is never to be afraid of anything. You have to show bravery in everything. Even do not be afraid of death. Then Pedro's second son, who had a disease that he could not answer anything, suddenly started speaking, and taking the name of evil, which made them very scared. Then Pedro receives his ex-wife's call, which was in his mother's hand. Seeing her call, everyone is very scared. Because the way the car hit her, it was impossible for anyone to escape. Pedro had also seen that she was killed. But he still picks up the call, where his wife says bad things about Pedro. And also that I will definitely come to take both my children. Hearing this, Pedro gets very worried. He was thinking of himself as responsible for all this. He was also fed up with all this. Then his brother calms Pedro down. Now these people had come out of the town, but they did not have a place where they could go. Pedro's brother tells him that a few miles away from here, a woman named Marta lives whom I know. We go there, because she will help us in living and will also give us money. Because she is a very good woman. That's why they went to Marta's house, who has also been a cleaner. And even today she follows all the rules. She allows them to live in her house. Pedro's brother also tells Marta everything that had happened to them so far. In the meantime, we see Pedro and his brother talking to each other. And we realize that there is a lot of love between the two brothers. Now in the middle of the night, Pedro's wife comes there. She takes her younger son and runs away from the balcony. Pedro had also seen her. She had already run away before stopping her. And when it was checked, she was gone. That's why Pedro starts worrying about his younger son. Now Marta, who could see evil or possessed because of being a cleaner. Seeing Pedro's older son, she understands that he is also possessed. She tells him that evil has entered his body. But because he is such a child, who stays quiet and does not speak. That's why evil is still unable to control his mind. After this, Marta collects all her cleaning supplies. That is, weapons and necessary items. And she says that we will have to finish Rotten. But Pedro's brother says that according to me, Rotten must have finished. That's why so much possession is happening one after the other. Evil is possessing everyone. But Marta tells him that this information is wrong. This thing does not work like this. All this possession is actually happening to give birth to evil. Pedro's brother tells him that we had left Rotten somewhere else. Marta says that this is the most wrong thing you have done. Then Pedro says that we could not do anything, because the owner of the land forced us to do this. Now Pedro's brother is looking for Pedro's ex-wife and son. While Pedro and Marta leave to find Rotten. Now their journey was going to be very difficult. Because evil's possession has spread throughout the town. Along with this, they have to follow all the rules. Here Marty says that whatever we are afraid of, evil will use the same thing against us and make us face the same thing. That's why your ex-wife will take your son. Because you are afraid of him. Now on the way, Marta tells Pedro her story. That my husband was a greedy man. He used to do fraud with people in the name of the church. He used to hire actresses for his work, and make them act as rotten and evil. And in the meantime, one day, the real possessed came there. After that, he improved and started cleaning. Because he started to believe on possession, evil, and rotten. That they exist, and he was also scared. Then one day, my husband went to cleaning, but never came back. And yes, you can go away from evil or possessed man. So far that you don't even know where you are. Like I did, I leave everything and live alone. On the other hand, we see that evil has completely possessed Pedro's eldest son. And he was asking for food from Pedro's mother, which was obviously very strange. Now Pedro's brother also finds Pedro's ex-wife walking on the street, who was also completely possessed. And she was eating the head of her younger son. Seeing this, Pedro's brother hits her with a car, which crashes her. But in this, because of the accident of his car, he was also quite injured. Pedro and Marta go to a school looking for Rotten, where they find all the children sitting in a strange condition. Who sees, she points to Pedro to be quiet, because she also understands that they have also been possessed by evil. Meanwhile, we notice a strange kind of shadow all around the school. Now a girl comes to them and says that my dad has taken Rotten home. Actually, because all these children were possessed, they were lying to them to mislead them. Pedro and Myrta find a lot of people's corpses under one floor of the school. These children had killed them and hidden them here, and Rotten was hidden under them. Now Myrta sets up her cleaning equipment there, and tells Pedro to take Rotten out of there. When Pedro was about to take her out, Evil starts controlling Pedro's mind to save himself. Moreover, those children cleverly locked Pedro in the room. And when Pedro looks out, all the children had killed Myrta, who was dragging her corpse. Pedro got angry, he broke the door, and came out and killed Rotten. After doing this, he felt that I had finished everything. But this was not the end of Evil, but it had just begun. Because this is what Evil ever wanted. So that I can be free after this body is finished, and now his work was done. And now Evil is completely born in his form, and waves his hand on Pedro's head. Because he was the one who helped him to be born. And now Evil is born, and goes to the outside world to wreak havoc, where he will possess more people. And Pedro comes back home, where both brothers hug each other and start crying with sorrow. Because they understood that although we tried so much, we can't do anything now. Or else they had completely accepted their defeat. And now if they leave this place, it will be of no use. Because now this possession will spread from the whole town, it will spread in the city too. Which was about to spread like an infection quickly, so that they can't get rid of it. Then he remembers that we had hidden Rotten's younger brother in the store. Pedro talks to him and then he tells him that a voice had told me to kill that cleaner and eat him. The man whose dead body he had found, he had killed him by Rotten's brother. Then he says, I did the same with my mother, I killed her too and ate her. Pedro goes to bathe his son after giving him ice cream. And he was very surprised to see that the mark was not going away from his forehead, which was given to him by Evil. That means that mark had become permanent. Pedro's son started coughing, and water and blood started coming out of his mouth, which Pedro started cleaning. But then he saw that my mother's hair and locket was coming out of his mouth, which scared him. Because he understood that in the state of possession, my son killed his own grandmother and ate her. When Pedro saw this, he went crazy. He came out while taking care of himself. And he gets very sad about all this. Now let me tell you what this Evil does. So he possesses a body and takes refuge in it. And he keeps killing the people of the town or city, until someone else comes and finishes this old body of his. Because of which he is present. Because of which he possesses another body and comes inside it. And he starts killing people again. Which he did so that he could take that power from the dead people, and become so powerful that he would be born, and become the most powerful. Which happened. When he became powerful in the right sense, he got killed by Pedro and was born. He almost walks on the path of destroying the world, where now only his reign and possession will be. And with this terrible ending, the story of this film also ends here.